The harsh truth is no one cares. No one cares about your dreams, your struggles, your pain, or your ambitions, not until you make something of yourself. And that's the reality most people don't want to face. You can sit around hoping for support, waiting for someone to recognize your potential, or complaining that life isn't fair, but none of that will change your situation. The world doesn't owe you anything. If you want something, you have to go out and take it. People will doubt you. They'll tell you it's impossible, that you don't have what it takes. They'll laugh at your dreams because they can't see the vision you hold inside. But what they think doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what you do when no one is watching, when no one is clapping for you, when no one believes in you but yourself. That's when real success is built. You see, most people only care about results. They celebrate success but ignore the struggle. They cheer for champions but forget the years of sacrifice it took to get there. That's why you have to learn to move in silence. You have to understand that every hour you spend working, every sacrifice you make, every moment of discipline you embrace, it's all adding up. It's all pushing you toward your breakthrough, but you won't see it right away. Success doesn't come overnight. It comes after years of effort, after countless failures, after pushing forward when every fiber of your being wants to quit. You can't let the noise of the world distract you. People will talk, they'll doubt, they'll criticize, but none of that should affect you. Because when you're locked in, when you're focused on your mission, nothing else matters. You wake up every day with one goal: to be better than you were yesterday. You train, you learn, you grow, and you push forward, no matter what. And one day when you finally make it, when you rise above the doubters and prove them all wrong, they'll act like they always believed in you. But you'll know the truth. Success is lonely. It demands more than most people are willing to give. It requires you to stay up late grinding while others sleep. It forces you to miss out on parties, distractions, and temporary pleasures because you're focused on something greater. And the reality is, most people aren't built for that kind of life. They want easy success. They want rewards without the work. But you're different. You understand that the struggle is part of the journey, that every challenge, every setback, every failure is shaping you into the person you're meant to be. So don't look for validation. Don't seek approval. Just put your head down and work. Keep building, keep growing, keep grinding. Because one day when you finally make it, the world will have no choice but to pay attention. Until then, work in silence and shock the world. Silence is your superpower. In a world where everyone is eager to show off, to brag about their next move, to seek validation from strangers, those who work in silence hold a true advantage. Because when you operate in silence, no one sees you coming. No one knows what you're building, what you're planning, what you're about to unleash. And that's what makes you dangerous. Most people waste their energy trying to convince others that they're on the path to success. They talk big, they post about their grind, they seek applause for work that isn't even finished yet. But the truth is, the loudest person in the room is often the weakest. The ones who truly make an impact don't need to announce it. They just put in the work. They just show up every single day, disciplined, committed, relentless. And while the rest of the world is distracted, they're making moves in silence. Silence gives you focus. When you stop talking and start doing, you begin to realize how much noise was holding you back. You stop caring about opinions. You stop looking for approval. You stop wasting time trying to explain your vision to people who will never understand it. Instead, you lock in. You pour your energy into the process. You build, you grind, you sacrifice without the need for recognition. Because real success doesn't come from what people think about you. It comes from what you do when no one is watching. And here's the secret: the less people know about your plans, the less they can interfere. When you broadcast your goals too early, you open the door for doubt, negativity, and distractions. You invite people's opinions, their skepticism, their envy. But when you move in silence, you take away their power. No one can criticize what they don't see. No one can doubt what they don't know. You keep them guessing, you keep them wondering. And before they even realize what's happening, you've already won. Think about the most successful people in the world. They don't talk about what they're going to do. They just do it. They let their success speak for itself. They understand that the real work happens behind the scenes, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the moments of solitude where discipline is tested and resilience is built. That's where champions are made. That's where greatness is forged. But here's the challenge: silence is uncomfortable. Most people can't handle it. They crave validation. They need encouragement. They want to be noticed. But if you can learn to embrace silence, to thrive in the unseen hours, to stay committed even when no one is watching, you will separate yourself from the rest. You will develop a mindset that cannot be broken. And when the time comes when you finally step into the spotlight, the world will be forced to acknowledge what you built. Until then, keep working, keep grinding, and remember, silence is your greatest weapon. Pain is inevitable, But what you do with it is what defines you. Every setback, every failure, every moment of doubt is an opportunity to turn pain into power. Most people let pain break them. They let the hardships of life push them down, make them bitter, make them quit. But the ones who rise, the ones who take that pain and use it as fuel, those are the ones who go on to achieve greatness. Life will test you. It will put obstacles in your way that seem impossible to overcome. You will face moments where everything in you screams to give up. But in those moments, you have a choice. You can let the pain defeat you, or you can use it to grow. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your teacher. It is showing you where your weaknesses are, where you need to be stronger, where you need to fight harder. Every great success story has a chapter of struggle, of suffering, of pushing through when it seemed impossible. Think about the most successful people in the world. Do you think they had it easy? Do you think they woke up one day and everything was handed to them? No. They endured. They suffered. They failed over and over again, but instead of letting that pain destroy them, they used it. They used it as motivation. They let it sharpen them, harden them, make them unbreakable. They didn't run from the pain. They leaned into it. They embraced it. They made it their strength. Pain has a way of revealing who you really are. When everything is going well, when there are no challenges, it's easy to feel confident, to believe in yourself. But when the storm comes, when everything seems to be falling apart, that's when you find out what you're truly made of. Will you crumble? Or will you stand up, fight back, and push forward? You have to learn to see pain differently. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of feeling sorry for yourself, use that energy to grow. Every moment of struggle is preparing you for the next level. Every hardship is a test, and if you pass that test, you will come out stronger, wiser, and more powerful than before. The world doesn't reward those who quit. It doesn't celebrate those who give up at the first sign of struggle. The world belongs to those who keep going, who refuse to be broken, who take every ounce of pain and turn it into unstoppable power. You can sit in your pain and let it control you, or you can stand up and use it as the fire that drives you forward. The choice is yours. But remember this, every great success was once just someone who refused to quit, no matter how much it hurt. So take your pain, embrace it, and let it push you to become the best version of yourself. The road to greatness is lonely. Not everyone will understand your vision, and most won't believe in you until they see results. That's just the way the world works. People love to celebrate success, but they don't want to be around during the struggle. They don't want to support you when you're grinding in the dark, when you're sacrificing sleep, when you're pushing through pain just to take one more step forward. And that's why the journey to greatness is not for everyone. It's for the ones who can walk alone. When you decide to chase something bigger than yourself, you will lose people. Friends will disappear. Family may not understand. People you once trusted will doubt you. They will question your choices, criticize your sacrifices, and try to convince you to take the easy road. Not because they want to hurt you, but because they don't see what you see. They don't have the vision. They don't have the hunger. They don't understand what it takes to be great. And that's why so many people give up. Not because they aren't capable, but because they can't handle the loneliness. They can't handle the silence, the isolation, the long nights with no one clapping for them. They need approval, they need support, they need someone to tell them they're on the right path. But when you're on the road to greatness, sometimes you have to walk that path alone. This is where most people fail. They start with passion, with excitement. But when the struggle gets real, when the journey gets lonely, they start looking for shortcuts. They start listening to the doubts of others. They start questioning themselves. And before they know it, they've given up on their dream just because the road was too hard, too empty, too uncertain. But here's what you have to understand. The loneliness is part of the process. It's supposed to be this way. Because if everyone could do it, if success were easy, then everybody would be successful. But it's not easy. It's brutal. It will test you. It will break you down. It will force you to grow in ways you never imagined. And that's exactly why only a few make it. You have to be okay with walking alone. You have to be okay with being misunderstood. You have to be okay with putting in the work day after day with no applause, no recognition, no immediate reward. Because every step you take in the dark, every sacrifice you make, every lonely night you endure is building you into the person you need to be to handle success when it finally comes. The truth is, people don't believe in you until you've already made it. They won't support you when you're grinding, but they'll show up when the results appear. And that's fine. Let them doubt you. Let them question you. Let them think you're crazy. Because one day when you finally make it, when they see the success, when they see the discipline, the strength, the greatness you built, they will act like they always believed in you. But by then, it won't matter. Because you didn't do it for them, you did it for yourself. You did it because you refused to settle. Because you refused to be like everyone else, because you knew deep down that you were meant for more. So if you're feeling lonely on your journey, if you're questioning whether it's worth it, let this be your reminder: the road to greatness is supposed to be lonely. It's the price you pay for success. And in the end, when you look back and see how far you've come, when you realize that every sacrifice, every struggle, every lonely night was worth it, you'll understand why so few ever make it. Because they weren't willing to walk alone. But you kept going, and that's what makes all the difference. Work, win, shock the world, that's the formula. No shortcuts, no easy way out, no magic trick, just relentless effort day after day until the world has no choice but to recognize you. Success isn't about talent alone. It isn't about luck. It's about discipline. It's about the ability to put in the work even when no one is watching, even when the odds are stacked against you, even when you feel like giving up. Most people want to be great, but they don't want to work for it. They talk about their dreams. They post about their goals. They make promises to themselves and to the world, but when it's time to put in the effort, they disappear. They make excuses. They wait for motivation. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Discipline, however, is what separates winners from everyone else. It's what keeps you going when motivation runs dry. The truth is, most people will never understand what it takes to win. They only see the final product. They see the highlight reel, the success, the moment of victory, but they don't see the grind. They don't see the nights you stayed up working, the mornings you forced yourself out of bed when you were exhausted, sacrifices you made while others were out having fun. And they never will, because success is built in silence. If you want to shock the world, you have to move differently. You have to operate with a level of focus and determination that most people simply don't have. You have to be willing to do what others won't, to push past limits, to work when no one else is willing to. That's how champions are made. That's how legacies are built. The problem is people expect results too soon. They put in a little effort, they grind for a few weeks, and when they don't see immediate success, they quit. They assume it wasn't meant for them. But what they fail to realize is that success isn't about instant gratification. It's about consistency. It's about showing up every day, improving, learning, failing, adapting, and doing it again and again until you break through. You don't need to announce your every move. You don't need to convince people that you're working hard. Let your success be the proof. Let the results speak for you. Let the doubters talk while you work. Because when you finally win, when you finally achieve what you've been grinding for, the same people who doubted you will be the ones asking how you did it. They'll be the ones calling you lucky. But you'll know the truth, it wasn't luck. It was effort. It was sacrifice. It was relentless persistence. This is why you can't afford to get distracted. You can't afford to waste time worrying about what others think. You have to stay locked in. You have to be obsessed with improvement, with progress, with becoming the best version of yourself. That's how you win. That's how you separate yourself from the rest. And when that moment comes, when you finally make it, when you've put in the years of work, when you've overcome every obstacle and silenced every doubt, you won't need to say a word. Because the world will see it. The world will know. The world will realize they underestimated you. And by then it'll be too late for them to catch up. So keep working. Keep pushing. Keep grinding in silence. Because one day when you win, the shock will be so loud, they won't be able to ignore you. Work. Win. Shock the world. That's the only way. At the end of the day, it all comes down to one thing: did you give it everything you had? Because when it's all said and done, when the opportunities have passed, when the doors have closed, and when time has run out, the only thing that will matter is whether you truly gave your all. Most people live with regrets, not because they failed, but because they never really tried. They let fear hold them back. They let doubt convince them to settle. They let other people's opinions dictate their path. And then when it's too late, they realize they wasted their potential. Don't let that be you. You have a chance right now, in this very moment. You have the opportunity to chase something bigger than yourself. To push past the limits you once believed were unbreakable. To prove to yourself and to the world that you were capable of more than they ever imagined. But that won't happen if you hesitate. That won't happen if you keep waiting for the perfect time. The perfect time does not exist. The only time you have is now. You see, the difference between those who make it and those who don't isn't talent. It's not luck. It's not intelligence. It's mindset. It's discipline. It's the ability to get up every single day and fight for something even when you don't feel like it. Even when it's hard. Even when everything in you wants to quit. Because here's the truth: life isn't going to hand you success. It's not going to reward you just because you want it. You have to earn it. You have to be willing to sacrifice for it. You have to be willing to give more than anyone else is willing to give. That's the price of greatness. And if you're not willing to pay that price, someone else will. Someone else will wake up earlier. Someone else will put in the extra hours. Someone else will do the work that you weren't willing to do. And when the moment of opportunity comes, they will take it because they were ready. And you weren't. That's why you cannot afford to waste time. You cannot afford to keep making excuses. You cannot afford to let another day slip away without getting closer to your goals. Every single second you waste is a second you will never get back. Every moment you spend hesitating is a moment someone else is using to get ahead. So the question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to keep watching from the sidelines, keep dreaming without action, keep waiting for someone to give you permission? Or are you going to step up and take control of your destiny? Because here's the reality, no one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the life you want. No one is going to believe in you until you prove yourself. That's just the way the world works. You either make it happen or you don't. But if you're willing to fight for it, if you're willing to give everything you've got every single day, then nothing can stop you. You will rise. You will prove every doubter wrong. You will build the life you've always dreamed of. And when that moment comes, when you stand at the top, when you've achieved what they said was impossible, when the world finally sees what you were building in silence, you won't need to say a word. Because your success will say it all.